Alrighty, so today I'm going to be doing a live stream. It's been a while since I've actually done a live stream. In the past, I've been using and going through the grammar book, but we published this book in the end of December last year. So this book is pretty new, and I kind of wanted to try this out on a live stream. So this book is great for beginners, and we are going to have a go at making our own sentences and practicing our Korean grammar, our Korean vocabulary, and making sentences by ourselves. So this book just recently came out, and this book was written by me alongside my co-workers Chelsea and Eugen. And the first chapter is this one. So basically this book, you've probably seen us talking about it, but this book has writing prompts in it, but then it's broken down so that beginners can have a go at making their own sentences. So this is the title page for this chapter, question 1, and it says, 무슨 일을 하세요? Which means, what do you do for work, or what is your job? So we've got a little breakdown here underneath, which tells you what each of these sort of different parts of the sentence means. 무슨 means what, or what kind of something. 일 is, in this case, work or job. Here is the object particle. And we have 하다, to do. So 일을 하다 is to do work. Doing is an action verb, so we use the object particle, the object particle. And we end the sentence with 세요, which is just a slightly more polite form than 해요. Both are correct and both are natural, but 하세요 is just a little bit more formal. Okay, so there's the breakdown here, and let's have a go. So the first page here is got an example answer to the question. So you can see up here we have the question that we're answering, that we're focusing on. What do you do for work? And here we have an example answer. So first, actually, let me just cover up this English here. I'm going to read it out and see if you can actually understand it yourself without me. Before I give you the translation, see if you can understand what this means. So first we have 저는 선생님이에요. 저는 선생님이에요. Second sentence, 고등학교에서 수학을 가르쳐요. Thank you, Melanie. So that's the second sentence, 고등학교에서 수학을 가르쳐요. And the last sentence is, 가르치는 것은 가끔 어렵지만 의미 있는 일이에요. All right, so have a think how much you can understand out of this. You might not understand all of it, but that's fine. So let's go through and look at the translation. So this first sentence means, I am a teacher. So 저는 means I or me, and 선생님 is teacher. This EAO at the end is just the conjugation of I am. So I like your Korean accent, it's adorable. Thank you. So 저는 선생님이에요 means I am a teacher. This next sentence here says, I teach math at a high school. So we've got a little bit more grammar in this sentence. We have 고등학교, which means high school. 고등학교 is high school. And now we have 에서. 에서 is a grammar form meaning in some place. And this book is called Writing Conversational Korean for Beginners. So 고등학교에서 means in the high school. You specifically use this 에서 particle when you're doing an action in a place. And don't mind my dog in the background. He's just having fun by himself. Okay, so 고등학교에서, in my high school. 수학. Now, 수학 here is mathematics or math. So 수학 is math. So this is the object that we are teaching in the high school. We have the object particle because this is the object of our verb. And our verb is this one right here. 가르치다. 가르치다, which means to teach. 1 second, I'll just let my dogs in so that they're not banging on the door. Okay. So, 가르치다 is to teach, and this is the present tense conjugation. When you have a verb ending in I, 가르치다, you add 어 and it becomes 여. So 가르쳐요 means to teach in the present tense. So, in a high school, I teach math. All right. And this is just an example. I'm not actually a math teacher at high school. It's just an example answer to the question, what do you do for work? Now, this last sentence is the most complicated sentence. So there's the most to talk about here, but it's a very good sentence. So let's break it down. So the first thing here we have 가르치는 것. So 는 것 is another grammar form that turns verbs into nouns. So actually, we do that in English all the time. This turns the verb to teach into the noun teaching. So now we have the noun teaching that we can describe or act upon with our particles. In this case, we have the topic particle. So 가르치는 것은 means as for teaching. And by the way, actually, maybe I'll show this below here. This is probably useful. Below this answer, we actually have a breakdown in the book. We have the vocabulary on the left and the grammar on the right. So I'm going to leave that open so you guys can see it as well. So we have 는 것은, 가르치는 것은. As for teaching, we have 가끔. So 가끔 means sometimes. 가끔 means sometimes. So sometimes teaching is what? Is 어렵다. And this book is called Writing Conversational Korean for Beginners. Okay. And 어렵다, you might know this verb. It means to be difficult. 어렵다 means to be difficult. So teaching is sometimes difficult, right? This is this first clause. We have a clause here. Let me just start writing on this thing. I can write on this. That's fine. So this is clause 1, which means teaching is sometimes hard or difficult. And now we have 지만. 지만 means but. But is our connective clause, and it's attaching to the verb stem of 어렵다, to be difficult. So teaching is sometimes difficult. But now this last clause here, the second clause is 의미 있는 일이에요. So 의미 is meaning. 의미 is meaning. And we have 있다. 있다 here is the verb meaning to have. So it has meaning. This teaching is difficult, but it has meaning. Work. 일, we had in the question again. 일 is work. And this 는 here is not the topic particle. This 는 is not the topic particle. It is actually a noun modifying form to describe 일. So 일 is our noun. 일 is our noun work. And we're describing it with 의미 있다. 의미 있다, which is to have meaning. So meaningful work. It is. 이에요. So this is the same 이에요 as we have up here, right? 저는 선생님이에요 means I am a teacher. It is meaningful work. So you can see the translation down here as well. Teaching is difficult sometimes, but it's a meaningful job, or it's meaningful work, or the work has meaning. However you would like to translate it, those are all good translations. All right. So we've looked at an example answer. Can I read the first sentence in Korean again, please? Sure. This first sentence is 저는 선생님이에요. I am a teacher. Okay. So unless there's any other questions about this page, I'll move on to the next page. Again, this grammar down here, you can actually look up any of these grammar forms yourself and learn more about them. The color coding is actually the same as in our grammar book. So you can always use our grammar book if you would like to look these up, or you can just look it up online. That's fine too. Okay. So the next page actually is kind of similar to what I just did. Basically, we take the most difficult sentence from the previous page, in which case it's the third sentence, right? I spent quite a lot of time talking about what this sentence means. But on this page, we focus on it and we talk about it in more detail. So up at the top here, you can see the different parts of the sentence have been highlighted, and you can see the little breakdown of all the different grammar forms that go into this sentence. And now below, we actually talk about some of these grammar forms in a little bit more detail. So the first one, 눈것. 눈것 we talked about briefly before, but let's learn about 눈것 a little bit. So attach 눈것 to the verb stem of an action verb, importantly only action verbs, to turn it into a noun in your sentence. The verb used above, 가르치다, to teach, becomes the noun 가르치는 것, which means teaching. You can now talk about the characteristics or state of teaching as you would any other noun. So let's look at some other examples that also use 는것. So, for example, 아이를 가르치는 것을 좋아해요. All right, this means I like teaching children. So, 아이 is children, right? And we have the 를 object particle because 가르치다 is a action verb. So you are teaching the children, right? The children is the object that you are teaching to. So 아이를 가르치다, and now we have conjugated on 는 것. So 가르치는 것을. Now we have another object particle, right? This is because we have another action verb, 좋아해요. We've got another verb, action verb, 좋아해요. So we use another object particle. 아이를 가르치는 것을 좋아해요. I like teaching children. All right. And now we have the second sentence here, which is 카풀하는 것이 편해요. Thank you for the gifts, guys. Thank you for the rose. That's amazing. So carpool is an English word. You might recognize it, is carpooling. So carpool하다 is to do carpooling. Now we have 눈것 again. So again, it changes. The verb by itself would be carpool하다, which means to do carpooling. But carpool하는 것 is carpooling by itself. And now we have, notice here we have the E subject particle, right? So here we have the 을 object particle, and here we have the E subject particle. So why did that change? It's because of these verbs, right? 좋아하다 is an action verb, so it uses the object particle. But 편하다 is a descriptive verb. It means to be comfortable or convenient. So because it's a descriptive verb, you use E. So carpool하는 것이 편해요 means carpooling is convenient. Carpooling is convenient. Okay, so let's look at the next part. This is talking about the topic particle. So up here, the topic particle was used on 가르치는 것 to become 가르치는 것은. All right, and you guys are probably familiar with the topic particle. But let's look at this first example sentence. See if we can figure out what this sentence is saying. So it says, 회사에서 일하는 것은 답답해요. This book is called Writing Conversational Korean for Beginners. Okay, So this first sentence, we're going to try and figure out what this is. So we should be able to recognize ilhada, right? We've seen this a few times before. Ilhada means to work. And we've added 는 것 to it. So what does 일하는 것 mean in English? What would 일하는 것 be? Anybody have a guess? To work, very close. That's the dictionary form. 일하다 is to work. 일하는 것, when you conjugate, yeah, once upon a Kiwi, beautiful. Working, polo hip. Yeah, perfect. 일하는 것 is working. And now we have the topic particle after that. So 일하는 것은 is like as for working, or when it comes to working. Okay, what about this first part? What is 회사? Anyone know what the vocabulary word 회사 means? Company. Yeah, company is a good translation. Company, office is also a good translation. So those are both great translations. 회사 meaning office or your workplace or your company. All right. So and now we have 에서, which is our what I call the location of action particle. So this means in the 회사, in the office, 일하는 것은 답답해요. All right, so 답답해요. Anyone know what 답답해요 means? It's a very good vocabulary word to know, but it's not taught that often, I think. Frustrating. Oh, beautiful. I see a couple people saying frustrating. So frustrating is a very good translation for it. It could also be translated to stifling or even to claustrophobic, depending on the context. So in this case, we'll use frustrating or stuffy. Stuffy is a great translation as well. Stuffy is very good. I like stuffy. So we could translate this as overall. What does overall this sentence mean? In the office, working is stuffy. Working is frustrating. Working in the office is frustrating. I have stifling here in the translation over to the right, but this emoji, yes, that emoji is kind of perfect for it, right? That works really well. So working at the office is frustrating. Versus this next sentence. Okay, so what do we have here? 원격 근무하는 것은 편해요. All right, so I'm not expecting anyone to know necessarily what 원격 근무하다 means. I actually didn't know this word until very recently. But can anyone guess what this word is? Given that we were just talking about you're working at the office is stifling, this is Writing Conversational Korean for beginners. Yeah, so we were just talking about working at the office is stifling. What might be the opposite of working at the office? That's this 원격 근무하다. Anyone have a guess? It's a bit risky because you probably haven't learnt this word before. Outside the office is a very good guess. Where else would be outside? It is outside the office, but it's a specific type of outside the office. Working from home, perfect. Artichoke jam has got it. So 원격 근무하다 is to work from home or to work remotely. So 원격 근무하는 것은, as for working remotely, it is 편해요. And 편해요, we actually used it up here as well. Convenient or comfortable. Working remotely is convenient. This pen, actually, Chelsea gave it to me. Chelsea's the other Goose Apple girl, and I don't know where she got it from. It was a gift. It says friction erasable. I don't know. You can try and look it up if you want. Write it down. I need to look how this spells. Friction is the name of the pen. And it's erasable, which is really cool. So you can now it's not. Yeah, you can erase it, see? It's really cool. This was a Christmas present from my coworker, Chelsea. Hey, Simply Chris. Hi, how's it going? Welcome in. Okay, so we just looked at these two sentences here. And let's keep going with the next ones. So now we're using jiman. So jiman is a very useful connective clause, meaning but. So you attach jiman to the verb stem when you want to contrast two clauses in a sentence with the meaning of but. Just add it to the final verb in the first clause. The example above uses 어렵지만 의미 있는 일이에요, which means it's a difficult but meaningful job. Hey, you found the pen. Nice. Okay, so let's look at some more examples using jiman. All right, so this first one says 가르치는 것은 이미 있지만 힘들어요. All right, so 가르치는 것. Anyone know what 가르치는 것 means in English? So we know 가르치다. We probably remember that means the verb teach. 소환's got it. Beautiful. 가르치는 것은 means teaching. 가르치다 by itself is the dictionary form, but 가르치는 것 is teaching, the noun form. In English, they're called gerunds. I don't know if anyone is a English person, but in Korean, 능것 creates gerunds. Okay, so teaching is, as for teaching, 이미 있지만. Okay, so we had 이미 있다 over here on the left, right? It means to be meaningful. All right, so 이미 있다 by itself, this part, means to be meaningful. And now we have our jiman, which means but. Okay, what about this last word? Anyone know what this word means? 힘들어요. There's a couple different translations for it, but anyone can have a guess what 힘들어요 means. It comes from the verb 힘들다. Gumi, hard, difficult. Yes, beautiful. Tiring. Tiring's a great word as well. Difficult, all of those good words. So this sentence overall means teaching is meaningful but difficult, right? Okay, what about this next one? Okay, 원격 근무하는 것은 편하지만 심심해요. All right, so we had 원격 근무하다 before. It means to work remotely, right? So working remotely is 편하다. So what about this? Just look at this first clause. So what does 원격 근무하는 것은 편해요 mean? So 원격 근무하는 것 is working from home. Working from home is, the last word is boring. Yes, 심심해요 means boring. This beautiful. So grip tiny violin has got it wonderfully. This means working remotely is convenient, but this one, if you combine it all together, working remotely is convenient. Debo has it as well. Once upon a Kiwi, beautiful. Working home is convenient, but boring. Working remotely is convenient, but boring. Beautiful. Yeah, you guys are doing really well. Okay, and the very last one, you're advanced. Well, you're doing well. 심심해요. Working remotely is convenient, but boring. Actually, it could kind of be lonely as well. I guess depending on the context. 심심하다 is just really when you don't have anything interesting you. So maybe there's nobody interesting around. There's nothing fun to do. It's 심심하다. This book is Writing Conversational Korean for Beginners. All right. So this last one here, we're talking about now this grammar form here. This is how you create adjectives in Korean. So Korean actually doesn't have adjectives in the same way that we do in English. Basically, everything in Korean is a verb, but there are two different subcategories of verb. One is action verbs and the other is descriptive verbs. And you can turn descriptive verbs into adjectives using this grammar form. And yes, this book is available on Amazon, and someone's asking, do we have advanced books? We do not right now, but We are actually publishing one this month. Our first advanced book will be published this month. And it's the book 3 in the Writing Conversational Korean Intermediate and Advanced series. And that one is advanced. So there's no English in it, basically. All right. This book is Writing Conversational Korean for Beginners. All right. So in this book, in this part of this book right now, we are making adjectives in this sentence. Okay. So let's look at this first sentence here. This first word is Arbeit. That's my little name here as well. Arbeit. Anyone know what Arbeit is in Korean? Part-time job. Yeah, beautiful. So Arbeit is part-time job. I believe it actually comes from German. It's one of these loan words that was borrowed. Funnily enough, a bit of an aside, this word was borrowed from Japanese, and Japanese borrowed it from German. So this came into Korean in a roundabout kind of way, but it means part-time job or part-time work. Arbeit means work, in German, right? So that's kind of where it came from. Through Japanese, from German to Japanese to Korean. All right. So 아르바이트는 힘들지만. So now we have 힘들지만. What about this first clause? What about this? 아르바이트는 힘들지만. What is being described about 아르바이트? About the part-time work. It is difficult. Beautiful. So part-time work is difficult, but Meave, love, beautiful. It's difficult, but what about this last part? 좋은 경험이에요. So here we have the verb 좋다, which means to be. What does 좋다 mean? To like, yes. To be liked or to be good. Beautiful. And when we turn this into a adjective, what's up with the pronunciation? It's not accurate. I am not a native speaker. So when you turn this into an adjective, you add un, and it becomes 좋은. 좋은 means good. An adjective. 안녕하세요. 어떻게 지냈어요? 잘 지냈어요. I'm doing well, thank you. So 좋은 means good adjective. What about this last word, 경험? Anyone knows what 경험 means in Korean? Experience. Beautiful. So a 좋은 경험 is a 좋은 경험. 외국인입니까? 네, 외국인이에요. So 좋은 경험이에요 means a good 경험, right? A good experience. So this full sentence, we have two clauses here. 아르바이트는 힘들지만 part-time work is difficult, but a good experience. Part-time jobs are difficult, but a good experience. Okay. 발음은 정말 좋습니다. 감사합니다. What language is this? This is Korean. All right. And this last sentence here. 야간 근무는 힘들지만 높은 시급을 받아요. All right. So what is this talking about? Okay. So we have 야간 근무. I don't expect anyone to know this word, so I'm going to tell you what this word means. 야간 근무 means night jobs, working like night shifts. So nighttime work 는 힘들지만 is difficult, but 야간 근무는 힘들지만. What about this descriptive verb? 높다. Does anyone know what 높다 means? this verb right here. High, beautiful. 높다 means high. So, 넓은 is the adjective form of the descriptive verb 높다. 넓은 시금을 받아요. Okay, so what is this thing talking about here? 시금, or 시급, sorry, 시급. 시급. Anyone know what this means? High wages, yeah. So 시급 is wages or pay. So 높은 시급 together means high wages or high pay. 받아요. This comes from the verb 받다. Anyone know what the verb 받다 means in Korean? Receive high wages. Yeah, skate with your dog. Very nice. 받다 is to receive or to get. See, pids, debor. Nice. Good job. So, this sentence can be translated to, night jobs are difficult, but you get paid well. Or you get good pay, or you receive high pay or high wages. You know, however you would like to translate it. Those are all good translations for 야간 근무는 힘들지만 높은 시급을 받아요. Okay. Oh yeah, so any final questions about this page? Otherwise, I will keep going onto the grammar page. We're going to practice some more grammar after this. Okay, let's carry on. So this next page, I have to go now. Thank you for joining. I'll see you later. This book is Writing Conversational Korean for Beginners. Is this spoken or written? Right now we're practicing writing, but you can use any of these sentences in speaking as well. All right. And yes, it is available to purchase if you would like. Okay. So now let's look at doing some grammar practice. So on this page, we have a grammar form 지만 that we've talked about before, and we used it quite a bit on the last page. But on this page, let's do some practice problems using 지만. So if you do buy this book, you can follow this QR code, and it'll take you to a page that explains some more about 지만 and how to conjugate it. But in this lesson, we'll just dive right in. So the question says, given the English sentence below, use the grammar form above to write the equivalent expression in Korean. So whenever you're translating things, purchased it. Thank you so much. I hope you like it. And 안녕하세요, Hyuna. Welcome. So whenever you're translating sentences in Korean, there's never necessarily just one correct answer. Usually you can translate things multiple ways, but we'll give it our best shot at translating my work is tiring but rewarding. We'll translate this into Korean. Okay. Now over here on the right, it's gray, so you might not be able to see it as well, but we have some vocabulary words provided to help when you're translating this sentence. So we have 힘들다, which means tiring, and we have 보람이 있다, which means to be rewarding. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to translate is my work. Okay. So how would we say my work? So the first thing to know is how to do my in Korean. And there's a couple ways to do this, depending on if you're speaking formally or informally. But since we are speaking in our or your formal language, my is 제. 네 would be if you're speaking casually, but we're going to be speaking formally, so we're going to use 제. And 제 is actually a combination of 저, this is just an aside, which means me, and the 의 particle. And when you shorten this, it becomes 제. You might see it written like this as well. In written language, sometimes you'll see it written out in its full form, like this, but usually it just becomes 제. So, 제, work. All right, work. Does anyone remember before what work is in Korean? Why is it that when Korean translating to English, lose sense of sentences, if that makes sense? I frequently lose track of sentences in both languages. My brain just sometimes doesn't get it all put together, but that's just how it is. 일. I see quite a few people saying 일. Beautiful. 제 일 is my work. Now, which particle do we use? This is very important. So, to know which particle to use, you have to know what verb you're using, right? And the verb that we're going to be using is tiring or 힘들다. 힘들다. So, because 힘들다 is a descriptive verb, I see a lot of people saying 이. So that's good. We can say 제 일이. Now you can also use the topic particle. You could say 제 일은, and that's fine as well. In this sort of sentence, it's kind of impossible to know which one to use because it depends on the broader context of the conversation. But you can use either 이 or 은. Where this book is, Writing Conversational Korean for Beginners. The only incorrect answer is you cannot say 제 일을. 제 일을 is wrong because 힘들다 is a descriptive verb. It's not an action verb. So I'm going to use 제 일이, but you can use 은 as well. 제 일이. Now we have our 힘들다, which means tiring. And in order to conjugate 지만, you would take off the 다 and add 지만. Someone's asking, what's an example of when you would use 일은? That's a good question. Very quickly, one example situation is if you're talking about the sort of work that you're doing. Maybe you've already talked about your work before. You've talked about, I'm a teacher or I'm an engineer or whatever. And then you're referring back to your work with this sentence. If you say 제 일은, you're referring one possibility. There's multiple possibilities of why you might use 일은. But one example is you're referring back to your work that you were talking about before and adding in that it's 힘들다, that it's difficult. Okay, 제 일이 힘들지만. Now we have this last word, 보람이 있다. 보람이 있다 is to be rewarding. So, 보람이 있다. Now again, we're going to conjugate this into the present tense. So what do? We take off 다 and we add 어요. We add 어요 because when you have a verb ending in you add 어요, so it becomes 있어요. Question, hi, can you please share your go-to when you need to memorize vocab? It's kind of difficult. I agree. Learning vocab is very difficult. And ultimately, it just takes a lot of time and a certain amount of memorization. I'm at the point now where generally I don't do anything actively to learn vocab. I just have a lot of input and I pick it up. But I remember when I first started out, making flashcards was really helpful for me. And, just being active, writing things out, when I look things up, making a note of it, making lists as well, things like that will help. Flashcard apps are really good, things like that. This book is Writing Conversational Korean for Beginners. Okay, so this next sentence. 공부가 어렵지만 재미있어요. 공부하지만 재밌어요. Yeah. Okay, great. So we've got some people already jumping ahead with this one. But let's take a look. Studying is difficult but fun. So there's actually, we've given 공부 is studying, 어렵다 is difficult, and 재미있다, which means to be fun. So we've given all the pieces, and you just have to stick it all together. So studying is 공부. As an aside, you can also say 공부하는 것 if you want. That's basically equivalent. If you say 공부 or 공부하는 것, both mean studying. But in this case, we'll just say 공부 because that's what they gave us in the sentence. Or 하는 것은, that's fine as well. You can say 공부하는 것은. Yep, you can use that. But the particle we can use here, we're just going to stick with the same thing that we've been using before. And we're going to use 가 because 어렵다 is a descriptive verb. 공부는 is correct. Yes, 공부는 is correct as well. I'm just going to put in. I'll put it above so you see you can use either one. It's fine. But 어렵다 is a descriptive verb, so you just can't use 를. But everything else is fine. 공부가 어렵지만 재미있어요. And actually, to be honest, when you're using 지만, it's probably more natural to use 은는 because 은는 is generally used when you're giving contrast and 지만 is used in contrasting sentences. So 은는 might actually be slightly more natural, but I mean, it's fine. You can use either one, basically. Okay, 공부가 or 공부는 어렵다. 어렵다 means to be difficult. And then we take off 다 and add 지만. 어렵지만 재미있어요. 재미있다. We take off 다 and we add 어요. Just the same as we did up here. Same process. 재미있어요. 공부는 어렵지만 재미있어요. Or 공부가 어렵지만 재미있어요. What is the meaning of 지만? 지만 means but. 지만 means but. 공부하는, can we use it like this? As long as you use 것 as well. So you can say 공부하는 것, 공부하는 것이 어렵지만, or 공부하는 것은 어렵지만, or you can even use 공부하는 거, 어렵지만, actually, or you can say 공부하는 게. That got a little bit confusing. There's a lot of options, but you just need the other part. Question, I thought 하지만 means but. 하지만 does mean but it's been conjugated onto 하다, which means to do. All right. Well, or it's just used by itself. 하지만 is kind of a word used by itself as well to just mean but. But if you're joining two clauses together, you use the grammar form 지만. Okay, next sentence. Strawberries are sweet but small. Okay, so we have the word for strawberry, which is 딸기. We have 달다, which means to be sweet, and 작다, to be small. So we have two descriptive verbs over here, 달다 and 작다. And we have 딸기, strawberry. So we'll start with 딸기. We're going to use the 는 particle this time. So 딸기는 달다. So we're saying strawberries are sweet but small. So sweet is 달다. 달지만, right? Because we stick 지만 onto the verb 달다. And then we have 작다. Now to conjugate 작다 into the present tense, we take off 다. And because we have a ah sound as the final vowel sound, we add 아요, 작아요. 딸기가 work. Yes, you can say 딸기가 and that's fine. The difference between 가 and 는, there are many differences between 다 and 는. There's 6 differences actually, so I'm not going to talk about them all right now, but you can look it up online if you like. As a beginner with simple sentences like this, you can really use either one, and it does not significantly change the meaning of your sentence. All right, next one. that bag is pretty, but a bit small. Okay, so we have the verb, we have the noun, that bag, which is 그 가방. We have 예쁘다, which means to be pretty, and we have 조금, which means a little bit. 가방 is bag, yeah. Okay, so that bag is pretty, but a bit small. All right. 그 가방이 오는, let's use 는 this time. 그 가방은 예쁘지만, right? It's pretty, but 지만 is but, 예쁘다 is pretty, so it's pretty, but 조금. Now we weren't given the verb for small down here, but we do have it up here, right? So we'll just reuse this, use this again. 조금 작아요. So that bag is pretty, but a little bit small. 그 가방은 예쁘지만 조금 작아요. Does this book have an answer key? Yes. The answer key is at the bottom of the page. I'm just covering it up so you guys can't cheat. Is it okay to use 그 가방이? Yes, you can use 이 or 은, and that's fine. All right. That book is easy but boring. Okay, so last example. Let's do this one. We have the word for 그 책, which means that book. We have 쉽다, which means easy. And we have 지루하다, which means boring. So you conjugate pretty and but. Yes. So the pretty, the first clause is what we are contrasting with the second clause, and the 지만 goes at the end of the first clause, which ends with pretty. So it's pretty, but it's, oh, they're here. Pretty, but a little bit small. 예쁘지만 조금 작아요. And 그 책이, you can also, let's do that. We'll start with 그 책이. Someone's already started me off with the first part of this sentence. 그 책이. Anyone know what the next part would be? So we have the verb 쉽다. I thought the verb 심심하다 is used for bored. They both mean bored. You can generally kind of use either one. All right. 그 책이 쉽지만, beautiful, colorist. 쉽지만, I see a lot of people getting it right. Beautiful. But boring. How do we conjugate 지루하다 into the present tense? So the verb is 지루하다. And in the present tense, when you conjugate 하다 verbs, it becomes 지루해요. Beautiful. Zay's draft, Gumi 95. Nice job. 지루해요. 그 책이 쉽지만 지루해요. This book is Writing Conversational Korean for Beginners. And again, if you were doing this yourself, you could check the answers at the bottom of the page. We have 제 일은 힘들지만 보람이 있어요, etc., etc. You can check it at the bottom of the page if you have this book yourself. Okay, so we've finished this. Before we move on, anybody else have any other questions that they would like to ask before I carry on? All right, so we did our grammar practice. This next page, you don't have to memorize or anything like that. It's just there for reference to help you if you would like some vocab. You asked a question. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. What does 쉽은데? That verb. Okay. Let's have a look at this. 쉽다 is the verb to be easy. If you were conjugating this with the unde form, it would become 쉬운데 because it's a biup irregular verb. So 쉽은데, like that, I mean, I don't think that exists. I don't think that's a word, to be honest. There is this as well. That means to want to do something, but 쉽은데 or 쉬운데, but this is not correct. Yes, it is. 쉽은데. I could be wrong, I suppose, but I don't think so. K-pop idols use it all the time. Are they saying it like this though? Because this is very common. I'm not sure if it's spelled like that, but if you want to check and message me later and show me a screenshot, that's totally fine. I could be wrong, but it's probably the 쉽은데 at the end. And yeah, this book is Writing Conversational Korean for Beginners. Okay, so now we're going to, this is the main part of this chapter is the place when you're writing your own sentences. So here we have, so the overall question that we're answering is 무슨 일을 하세요? Which means what do you do for work? And in order to help you answer this question in Korean, we have 4 sub-questions, mini questions to help you build and develop your answer to the main question. So the first one is the question, what is your job? So this is just asking you to state your job. And we have some example sentences. This book is called Writing Conversational Korean for Beginners. Excuse me. Okay. We have someone saying 가수예요. Sure. That person is a singer. That's a great sentence. 가수예요. I am a singer. 저는 대학생이에요. You're a student. Great. That's a great sentence. We have that sort of up here as well. I'm a college student. I am an author, I suppose. I helped write this book, so I'll say 저는 작가예요. I'm an author. 뉴진스 가수예요. 뉴진스. I don't, maybe that's a band. I'm not aware of it, but that's cool. That's great. I'm an author. For example. So we have some examples there. Basically, you can just say the name of your profession and then add it with 예요 or 이예요. 회사원이에요. Oh, beautiful. Oh. 회사원이에요 means I'm an office worker. Great. All right. So the next question is, who do you work with? Dancer. Oh, you can say dancer. I think actually you can probably say that. Dancer. I'm a dancer. Yeah. 픽스웨어? Yeah, I'm sorry. We've all been there at some point. Nice. So whatever it is, you write that here. The next one is, who do you work with? All right. So we've got some examples here. I say I work with Chelsea. So Chelsea is the other goose apple girl. So I'm going to say Chelsea. I'm going to be polite to her because she's my coworker. So I'm adding the honorific she ending to her name. Chelsea 씨랑 means with. 랑 같이 일해요. If you wanted to be very formal, could you say 저는 학생입니다? Yes, you can say that. Any of these sentences can be changed to the 입니다 form. It just makes the sentence slightly more formal. So it's just up to you, and it depends who you're speaking to, which one you want to use. You can say 가수예요, or you can say 가수입니다. You can say, 작가예요 or 작가입니다. They're both fine. Thank you for the roses. All right. So it just depends up to you which one you want to use. If you're speaking very casually, you can even say like 가수야, which is 반말, right? That's the casual language, informal language. Just depends who you're speaking to. All right. Thank you for the rose, Casper Left, and Arabian Calavanus. Thank you so much. All right. So who do you work with? I've done one example sentence here. 찰씨 씨랑 같이 일해요, which means 같이 means together. Yeah, 같이 means together. You can, with no one. You can say you work alone. You can say this. Alone is 혼자서 일해요. I don't work with anybody. I work by myself. 혼자서 일해요. I work alone. It's also one of the example sentences here as well. Yeah. Sure, you're welcome. What about the next one? So now we have, when do you work? When do you work? What shall we say? So we've got some example sentences here. I quite like this first one. It gives you the full sentence to say I work from 9 to 5 every day. Let's write that out, but I'm going to say, question, why do we add 서 to 혼자? You can use it either way, to be honest, but it's very common to add 서. And I remember asking someone what the difference was, but I don't actually remember right now. But yeah, you can kind of use either. I think it was something like 혼자 by itself is a noun and 혼자서 is like an adverb, but I could be wrong. But it's something like that, I think. Okay, so let's say I work from 9 to 5. So we're going to say 오전. 오전 is morning. Actually, let's say 오전, 9시. 9시부터. 9 is 9. This book is Writing Conversational Korean for Beginners. 9시부터. So from 9 a.m., 오전 is morning or a.m. So 오전 9시부터. I wrote it in 5. I wrote it in Hangul by accident. 5시까지. So 부터 is from and 까지 is until. This book is Writing Conversational Korean for Beginners. 오후 is afternoon or PM. PM and AM. You are Korean. 안녕하세요. Hello. So 오전 9시부터 5시까지 일해요. I work from 9 to 5. And you can change these numbers to anything to change this amount. So you could say like 오전, I don't know, 4시, no, 4시부터. If you work from 4 a.m. to, I don't know, 4 p.m. 오후 4시까지 일해요. Ooh. Yeah, that would be a terrible schedule. 4 a.m. to 4 p.m., but maybe somebody works that. Yeah, you can work anything like that. You can also say a specific time. When you're using hours, you use native Korean numbers. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. So if the hours of the day are said in native Korean numbers, native Korean numbers, so 한, 둘, 셋, 넷, 다섯, 여섯, etc. But if you're talking about minutes, then you use Sino-Korean numbers. So it's a little bit tricky. We could also say I work on Mondays. Let's say Monday is 월요일. 월요일에 일해요. I work on Mondays. How to say 35 hours a week. This book is Writing Conversational Korean for Beginners. So 35 hours a week, you can say that would be, put me on the spot. 35 시간 is hours. 동안 is a length of time or duration. So for 35 hours, 일해요. 35시간 동안 일해요. 한국에서도 이 책을 구매할 수 있나요? 구매할 수 없어요. 네. Unfortunately. I think you can buy the PDF from our website if you're in Korea, but the paperback I think is kind of hard to buy in Korea. How long have you been learning Korean? I've been learning Korean for about 5 years. I'm sorry, I know. 아쉽죠. You're using the wrong number system with 시간. So these numbers use native Korean numbers, and these numbers use Sino-Korean numbers. So, yeah, it's hard. So this is 9시, and this is 5시, but this is 35. 매일 means every day. 매일 means every day. 네, 아쉬워요. Okay, so the last sentence here is where do you work? So 어디에서 일해요? Where do you work? Let's do some examples. Okay, so I work at home. So I can just say 집 is home or house. And then we use our 에서 particle because we're doing an action in a place. 집에서 일해요. Can I explain the last sentence again? 저는 댄스 학교에서 일합니다. Yeah, beautiful. You work at a dance school, right? Yeah, great. 동안 is preposition. 동안 is, I'm not sure if it's a preposition. It's a word meaning that you use for durations of time. So 동안 is used when you're talking about a length of time. In this case, you have the time itself. And notice, so here we use 시. If you're just talking about the hour of the day, you can just use 시 by itself. But if you're talking about a length of hours, you use 시간. So notice that difference there. So 35시간 동안 일해요. So for 35 hours, during 35 hours, I work. Why do you use 서 after 에? Do you mean down here? 집에서? I'm assuming you do. So notice up here we've just used the 에 particle, right? Yeah, but here we've used the 에서 particle. So why is it different? Well, in these sentences, we're talking about times. We're talking about at some time. So when you're talking about at some time, you just use 에. But in this sentence, even though we might still say at in English, there's a different word use because this sentence is different. Here we're talking about doing an action in some place. Whenever you're talking about doing some action in or at some place, you use 에서, not 에. 에 by itself is used for marking times, or dates, or even directions. It's also used directions, but it's not used for talking about performing actions. Yeah, you're welcome. What time do you usually go live? I don't really have a set schedule, unfortunately. It's just kind of whenever I feel like it. And what tense is the last sentence conjugated on the blue part? This one here, this is present tense. 병원에서 환자를 치료해요. 환자를, I treat patients at a hospital. It's present tense. 해요 is in the present tense. All right, yeah, sure. What else could we say? We could say I work in a restaurant. 식당 is restaurant. Again, we're going to use 에서 because we're doing an action of 일하다 in the place of 식당. In the 식당, I do 일하다. I work. I can't understand and ler. They're the same particle. You use when it ends, when the noun ends on a consonant. You use r when it ends on a vowel. So I'm not going to talk too much about this, but you can learn about those and check those. It'll take some time to get used to, but eventually it'll become second nature. 식당에서 일해요. What about we do a different sentence? How about we do maybe 식당에서 요리해요, maybe. I cook in a restaurant. Perhaps, I don't know. Yeah, in about 5 years. Okay. So, in this book, the idea is that you answer each of these questions yourself. And then on this page, you put them all together into a paragraph. But since I've kind of answered all these different random sentences, it doesn't work so well for this page. Let me just I'll write an example of a paragraph put together quickly, just imagining myself. So I can say 저는 작가예요. I'm an author. Right? I'm an author. I work at home. 집에서 일해요. And I work with Chelsea. So Chelsea 씨랑 같이 일해요. It's supposed to be a niang. And if we combine this all together, I could say 저는 작가고 I'm a author, and I'm using the core to join sentences together. So 작가고 집에서 일해요. You can join things together like this. 랑 means together. So with Chelsea with, because that's her name, Chelsea랑 같이 일해요. And this book is Writing Conversational Korean for Beginners. Now on this page, there is a conversation, an example conversation. I'll read it out and we'll have a go at seeing how much you can understand. This is an example sentences. Oh, thank you. Okay, so this is the conversation between Jisoo and Haram. Jisoo and Haram. So Jisoo says, 안녕하세요. 저는 지수입니다. 만나서 반가워요. Hello, I'm Jisoo. It's nice to meet you. And Haram says, 지수 씨, 안녕하세요. 무슨 일을 하세요? Hi Jisoo, what do you do for work? Jisoo says, 저는 선생님이에요. 지금 고등학교에서 수학을 가르치고 있어요. I'm a teacher. I'm teaching math at a high school now. Now, 하람 says, 그렇구나. That's a very useful little word to say, oh, like, okay, that's cool. Or, I learned something new. Oh, I see. I see. 그렇구나. 저는 전기기사예요. 그럼 지수 씨 가르치는 것을 좋아해요? I see. I'm an electrician. So, Jisoo, do you like teaching? 그럼, so, 지수 씨 가르치는 것을 좋아해요? So, Jisoo, do you like teaching? Jisoo says, 네, 좋아해요. 하지만 회식이 너무 많아요. 퇴근 후에 그냥 집에 가고 싶어요. Yes, I do. However, there are a lot of work dinners. We're going to talk about 회식 more on the next page. After work, I just want to go home. 네, 좋아해요. Yes, I like teaching. 하지만, but, 회식이 너무 많아요. There are too many work dinners, too many 회식. 퇴근 후에, after work, 그냥 집에 가고 싶어요. I just want to go home. Now Haram says, 그래요. 저도 회식이 많지만 보통 재미있어서 저는 좋아요. 그래요 is like, really? Oh, really? It's quite a common word as well. 저도 회식이 많지만 I have a lot of 회식, a lot of work dinners too, me too, but 보통 재미있어서. But they're usually fun. They don't, they're usually quite fun. So, 저는 좋아요. I don't mind it. I like it. All right. And then Jisoo says, 그렇군요. 좋아요. Oh, I see. That's nice. All right. That's a simple little sentence simple little example conversation between two people that are probably meeting for the first time. So, if you want to study this some more, you can go and read the conversation in the book and break it down yourself. 보통, what does that mean? 보통 means usually. Yeah. 어느 나라 선생님? 저는 뉴질랜드 사람이에요. I am a New Zealander. All right. And now the final page in this chapter is just a little cultural note about 회식. So you might know what a 회식 is, but if not, we'll talk a little bit about 회식. So in Korean culture, a 회식 is a more or less mandatory after-work social event. During a 회식, co-workers meet for dinner and drinks at a restaurant or bar. It's common to visit multiple locations, and a 회식 often concludes at a 노래방, or Korean karaoke room. And a 회식 aims to create team bonding and office cohesion. It may even be used as an informal setting to discuss topics deemed too sensitive for the workplace. Lately, there has been a growing movement of young people pushing back against the 회식 culture for encouraging reckless spending and excess alcohol consumption, as well as for cutting into valuable time at home and with loved ones. Nevertheless, if you are in Korea and you get invited to a 회식, it can be a great opportunity to bond with your coworkers and make a good impression in the workplace. This book is Writing Conversational Korean for Beginners. And yes, I heard someone say that they've heard people dislike 회식. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are getting tired of them. They can be fun as long as they don't go too late or there's not too many of them. It is fun sometimes to go out with your coworkers and have fun together. But certainly if, that there's too much going on, it can be a bit much. So, people have different opinions on it. But overall, that's very common for offices in Korea to have 회식, which is where the co-workers get together after work and go out for drinks and food and hang out together. So that brings me to the end of this chapter. So we went through 10 pages from 무슨 일을 하세요? What do you do for work? There are 24 chapters in total. Each of them follow the same 10-page layout, and this is the full list of all the different questions that are in the book. So we started with what do you do for work? The next one is what's your favorite season? What are your hobbies, etc. And there are 24 in total, all the way down to are you a morning person or a night owl? So for each of these chapters, it follows the similar layout where you have the question and you have the breakdown of an answer, you have an explanation of the grammar, etc. So same layout, but just different content for each one. And it's fairly new. This book was just published end of December last year. So it's pretty new on the market, but so far people have, I think, really liked it and have been enjoying it. So if you're interested, you can check it out. Again, it's called Writing Conversational Korean for Beginners. Thank you so much for joining. It brings me to the end of this live stream. The next one, I'm not sure when it would be necessarily. I used to do them twice a week, but I'm still kind of getting back onto a regular schedule. So I don't want to promise anything right now, but I'll be around. I'll try to do them semi-regularly, and I'll be working through this book. I'll go through some more chapters. Thank you guys so much. I'll go through some more chapters of these. I'll also probably still do some grammar live streams as well. I have some grammar live streams. I like the in-depth teaching you do. It helps. Thank you so much. I'm glad it's helpful for you. Also, I think what I will do is I will download this live stream recording and put it up on YouTube. So if you want to go back and watch it again or catch things you missed, you can follow up on that. There's a link to our YouTube in our bio, as well as a link to our website where you can check out the books as well. I miss your live streams. Hey, I remember you. Yeah, it's good to have you back. It's good to be back. They are fun. I just had a lot going on over Christmas and everything. Had some family things happening as well. So, but now things have got sort of settled down as well. So hopefully I'll get back into it. And 무슨 시간 옵니다. What time? Probably around this time. So probably around 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock. This is in Central American time. So, but I'm not sure about the day, but around this time. Yeah, thank you guys so much for joining. I need to go and help cook dinner. My husband has already started dinner, which is nice. But I'm going to go help him out. And if you like the book, if you want to check it out, definitely go check out our website. You can check out the book as well. And let us know what you think. If you like it, I'd love to hear what you guys think. You can always message us on social media or leave a review. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. Okay, I'm going to close out the live stream. And thank you guys so much. Oh, you have a question. Okay, yes, shoot. What's the question? Can you download the book in PDF? Yes, there is a PDF available for download if you would like. If you go to our website, there is a link to the download. It costs $15 to get the PDF. But then, you can keep it with you on your tablet or your phone and things like that. Can I ask one thing? Yes, sure. Go ahead. V-lexism. Can you open the book so you can see what it looks like? Sure. This is what it looks like inside. I can just kind of flip through. This is a book for helping you practice Korean. I went through, actually, let me go through back to when I was actually using it before. It's a book where you go through and answer writing prompts and have things like this. Which one of your books would suit me if I'm at level 3 currently in Sogang University? So if you're level 3 in Sogang University, is that topic level 3? If so, this book might be a little easy for you. It's up to you, kind of which book you would like. We do have other books, and I'm just looking. other books that you can check out if you're interested. So if you like prompts, for example, we have this book as well that's just the prompts. So if you want to just practice writing sentences, you can check out this book. We also have the writing conversation. So this is Writing Conversational Korean for beginners, right? If you're intermediate, you might like this one. This is our intermediate series where we have the prompts and we have some other help for language learning, including we have answers written by native Korean speakers. So you can read things written by real people. So answers written by real people in real language, things like that. This book also has cute little illustrations done by Eugen, our other Goose Apple girl. I'm trying to find... Oh yeah, it also has videos as well. You can watch YouTube videos made by native speakers. So that's the intermediate series. It's a really cool book. Basically, the reason we made this one is because people really liked the look of this one but thought it was too difficult. They didn't quite have the skills to use it yet. So that's why we made this one, which is the beginner version. So there's kind of a couple options there depending on what you're looking for. This one's probably best for like conversation practice if you're meeting with a language partner. This one's good if you know some basic grammar, you know some vocab, but you just want some help making your own sentences. And this one is good if you're pretty comfortable making your own sentences, but just want to extend and practice and experience more native speakers as well. So yeah, it's up to you really. Whatever you would like. There's also a number 3, this is number 2, but there's also a number 3 coming out very soon, which is our first advanced book. So if you're at quite a high level, particularly if you don't want to use any English, our number 3 is coming out soon. And in that book, we don't have any English. So that makes an added challenge as well. And these books are all available on Amazon or on our website. They're also available, I think, from other booksellers as well. I think Barnes & Noble. If you're in the UK, Blackwell's, I think, has them as well. So you can search around your country and see if you can find them. If you're outside the US, if you're in the US, Amazon's probably the easiest way. If you want a paperback. If you want a PDF, they are available on our website for $15. Yeah. Okay, so, yeah, that's the book. I didn't make them just by myself. I had help from other amazing people, Chelsea, who's been studying Korean for 14 years, and Eugen, who's a native Korean speaker. They all helped to put these books together. 지금 어느 나라입니까? 지금 미국에서 살고 있습니다. Yeah, 하지만 뉴질랜드 사람이에요. Yeah. So I live in America, but I'm a New Zealander. All right. Right. Okay. I'm going to close this out. Again, thank you guys so much for joining. I had a great time. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And like and follow for more. Thank you guys so much. Have a great night.